The autumn wind swept through the Montana mountains as Tom Baker adjusted his backpack straps. At 22, he wasn't exactly an experienced hiker, but the trails near his small university had become his favorite escape from the pressures of senior-year physics studies. This evening was different. The sunset painted the sky in unusual colors, not the typical orange and purple, but streaks of green that made Tom stop and pull out his phone to take pictures. As he framed the shot, a bright light streaked across the sky, followed by a deep rumble that shook the ground beneath his boots. "That's not normal," he muttered, lowering his phone. The light had disappeared behind the ridge about half a mile ahead. Against his better judgment, curiosity pushed him forward. After all, if it was a meteor, it would make an amazing addition to his physics dissertation. The trek took longer than expected. By the time Tom crested the ridge, darkness had begun to settle over the landscape. He clicked on his flashlight, sweeping the beam across the ground. The sight before him made him freeze. A gleaming object about the size of a car sat in a shallow crater, steam rising from its metallic surface. It wasn't a meteor. The object was clearly manufactured, with smooth curves and what looked like windows. As Tom approached, careful to test each step on the disturbed ground, he noticed that parts of the object had a familiar design, almost like an escape pod from one of his favorite science fiction movies. A soft groan echoed from within the craft. Tom's heart raced. Someone was inside, and they were hurt. His summer job as a camp counselor had required first aid training, and those instincts kicked in. "Hello," he called out, moving closer. "Are you hurt? I can help." A section of the craft's side had partially split open. Tom wedged his fingers into the gap and pulled, surprised to find the material lighter than expected. The panel shifted with a soft hiss. Inside, bathed in the dim blue light of flickering displays, lay a sight that made Tom question his sanity. The figure was humanoid, but clearly not human. Their skin had a silvery sheen, with patterns of light pulsing beneath it like flowing rivers. Despite the alien appearance, the being's pain was unmistakably human-like. Dark liquid, perhaps blood, seeped from a wound on their arm. The being's eyes opened, revealing irises that shifted color like oil on water. Fear flashed across their face, and they tried to move away, only to wince in pain. "Hey, it's okay," Tom said softly, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. "I'm not going to hurt you. I want to help." He pointed to their injury, then to the first aid kit attached to his backpack. The being watched him with those mesmerizing eyes, then slowly nodded. Tom took it as permission and opened his kit. As he cleaned and bandaged the wound, he noticed the being's features were delicate, almost regal. Their clothing, though torn and dirty, seemed to be made of material that shifted colors like their eyes. Just as he finished securing the bandage, a distant sound made the being tense. The whump-whump-whump of helicopter blades echoed through the mountains. The alien's face filled with terror, and they grabbed Tom's arm, making urgent gestures toward the thick forest. Tom understood. Whatever was coming, his new acquaintance was afraid of it. He helped them to their feet, supporting their weight as they limped away from the crash site. As they disappeared into the tree line, bright lights swept over the area they'd just left. "Don't worry," Tom whispered, though he knew they probably couldn't understand him. "I know these mountains pretty well. There's a cave system nearby where we can hide." The being squeezed his arm in what he hoped was gratitude, and together they vanished into the darkness of the forest, leaving behind the growing sounds of vehicles and shouting voices. Tom had no idea what he'd just gotten himself into, but he knew one thing for certain. His ordinary hiking trip had just become something extraordinary. Tom's legs burned as he guided his mysterious companion deeper into the cave system. His flashlight beam bounced off the damp walls, casting strange shadows that danced around them. The alien beings still leaned against him, their silvery skin giving off a faint glow that helped light their way. The sound of helicopters had grown fainter, but new noises joined them. the distinctive rumble of heavy vehicles on the mountain roads and voices calling out in the distance. What worried Tom most, though, was a high-pitched whine that didn't sound like any vehicle he'd ever heard on Earth. They reached a wider chamber in the cave, and Tom helped the alien sit down against a smooth rock wall. The being's bioluminescent markings pulsed with what seemed like pain or exhaustion. They made a series of graceful hand movements, pointing first to the cave entrance, then making a cutting motion across their throat. "You're hiding from them," Tom whispered. "They want to hurt you." He mimicked the throat-cutting gesture, and the alien nodded vigorously. A beam of light swept past the cave entrance, and Tom quickly switched off his flashlight. They sat in darkness, broken only by the soft glow of the alien's skin markings. The being seemed to concentrate for a moment, and the glow dimmed until it was barely visible. Through the cave entrance, Tom could see two types of vehicles moving through the forest. The black SUVs with government markings weren't surprising. He'd expected some kind of official response to whatever had fallen from the sky. But the other vehicles made his blood run cold. They looked like nothing he'd ever seen before, hovering silently above the ground with a faint purple glow underneath. The alien tugged at his sleeve and pointed to the strange vehicles, then again made the cutting motion. The message was clear. Those were the ones they needed to worry about. Tom pulled his water bottle and some trail mix from his backpack, offering them to his companion. The being studied the items carefully before accepting the water. They touched the bottle to their wrist, and Tom watched in amazement as a small patch of their skin briefly changed color. "Testing if it's safe to drink," he murmured. "Smart." After taking a small sip, the alien's face lit up with surprise, and they quickly drank more. Tom couldn't help but smile. Some reactions were universal, it seemed. Their moment of peace was interrupted by voices getting closer to the cave entrance. Tom recognized snippets of English mixed with something else. Harsh, clicking sounds that couldn't have come from human throats. Life signs in this direction. Royal beacon still active. Terminate on sight. The aliens' markings pulsed rapidly, and they pressed themselves against the cave wall. Tom acted on instinct, sliding in front of them to block the faint glow of their skin markings. He held his breath as footsteps crunched just outside the cave. A beam of purple light swept into the cave, different from normal flashlights. It moved in a grid pattern, methodically searching the space. Tom's heart pounded so hard, he was sure it would give them away. The light crept closer, inch by inch. Just before it reached them, a shout came from outside. Contact at the crash site. Multiple human vehicles approaching. The purple beam vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The footsteps rushed away, accompanied by those strange clicking voices. Tom let out a shaky breath. The alien touched his shoulder, and when he turned, they pointed to themselves, then drew a circle in the air with a crown on top. "You're important," Tom guessed. "Some kind of leader." They nodded, then pointed to their injured arm where Tom had bandaged it. They touched their chest and bowed their head slightly. "You're welcome," Tom said softly. "But we're not safe yet. Those searchers will be back." He pointed to his wrist, then held up 5 fingers. "We should wait 5 minutes, then move deeper into the caves. I used to explore them during my freshman year. There's another exit on the other side of the mountain." The aliens seemed to understand the general idea. They settled in to wait, both of them listening intently to the chaos outside. Tom's mind raced with questions, but one thing was certain. He was now caught up in something much bigger than a simple rescue. Dawn was breaking when Tom and his alien companion finally emerged from the far side of the mountain caves. They had spent hours working their way through the twisting tunnels, stopping occasionally to rest and listen for pursuers. Now they sat hidden in a small grove of pine trees, catching their breath. The alien reached into a hidden pocket in their strange, color-shifting clothes and pulled out a small device that looked like a broken crystal. Tom watched with fascination as they began to fiddle with it, their long fingers moving with precise, practiced motions. Suddenly, the crystal sparked. A soft hum filled the air, and the device began to glow with a gentle blue light. The alien held it up to their throat, made some adjustments, and then turned to Tom. "I hope this translation device works properly," they said in clear English, though the voice had an odd musical quality to it. "First, I must thank you for saving my life." Tom nearly fell over in surprise. "You can talk now. I mean, I can understand you." "Yes." The alien smiled, their color-shifting eyes twinkling. "And now I can finally explain everything. My name is Anna, and I am the crown princess of the Stellar Concordat." Tom blinked several times. "The what?" "The Stellar Concordat. We are a federation of 1,000 worlds spread across this arm of the galaxy." Anna's face grew serious. "Those who hunt me are members of the Steel Path faction. They wish to prevent my ascension to the throne." Tom ran his hands through his hair, trying to process this information. "So the weird ships we saw—" "Assassins," Anna confirmed. "They sabotaged my diplomatic vessel. I barely managed to reach an escape pod before the ship was destroyed. I aimed for your planet because we've been watching Earth for some time." "Watching us?" Tom's voice cracked slightly. "Why?" Anna's bioluminescent markings pulsed softly as she spoke. "Earth is at a crucial point in its development. We've been debating whether your species is ready to join the Concordat." She looked at him intently. "You've actually helped answer that question." "Me? But I mean, anyone would help someone who was hurt." "Would they?" Anna asked. "You found a clearly alien being, and your first instinct was to help. You didn't run away. You didn't try to capture me. You didn't ask for anything in return. Do you know how rare that is?" Before Tom could respond, a distant humming sound made them both tense. Anna quickly checked her crystal device. "They're tracking my royal beacon," she explained. "All members of the royal family have one. It's meant to keep us safe. But now, can't you turn it off?" Tom asked. "It's biological, part of my cellular structure. The only way to mask it would be—" She trailed off, looking at Tom with sudden interest. "What is your field of study?" "Physics," Tom replied. "I'm in my last year at the university." Anna's markings brightened. "Perfect. The beacon operates on a quantum frequency. With your physics knowledge, perhaps we could create an interference pattern to mask it." Tom's mind raced with possibilities, like a wave cancellation effect. "We'd need to generate a matching frequency." "I can tell you the exact frequency," Anna said, "but we need somewhere with equipment." "The university physics lab," Tom said immediately. "It's Sunday, so it'll be empty. And I have access because of my research project." Anna's markings pulsed with what seemed like hope. "How far?" "About 10 miles. But we can't walk there. Those ships would spot us for sure." "Do you have transportation?" Tom grinned. "My old pickup truck is parked at the trailhead. It's not exactly a royal spaceship, but—" "It's perfect," Anna said firmly. "Sometimes the simplest solutions are best. That's another thing we look for in potential member worlds, the ability to solve complex problems with limited resources." They stood carefully, checking their surroundings. The humming sound had faded, but they both knew it would return. As they began making their way toward the trailhead, Tom realized his ordinary life had completely changed in just one night. He was helping an alien princess, running from assassins, and apparently proving humanity's worth to an interstellar civilization, all while trying to remember everything he'd learned about quantum wave patterns in his physics classes. Somehow, he had a feeling his senior year was about to get a lot more interesting. Tom's old blue pickup truck rattled down the back roads, its engine protesting as he pushed it faster than usual. Anna sat in the passenger seat, her silvery skin hidden under Tom's spare hiking jacket and a baseball cap pulled low over her color-shifting eyes. "Turn right," she said urgently, checking her crystal device. "They're gaining on us from the north." Tom spun the wheel, taking them down a dirt road that led through Farmer Brown's cornfields. He knew these back roads like the back of his hand. 4 years of taking shortcuts to classes had finally found a real purpose. "How close are they?" Tom asked, steering around a pothole. "Two pursuit ships about 3 miles behind us. They're struggling to track my beacon because of all the turns we're making." Anna's markings pulsed faster under the jacket. "But we need that lab equipment soon. The beacon's signal gets stronger when I'm stressed." They passed old Miller's gas station, where the owner was outside fixing his ancient fuel pump. The old man waved at Tom's truck as it sped by. Everything seemed so normal, yet nothing was normal anymore. "Almost there," Tom said, checking his mirrors. "But we can't just drive straight to the university. They'll spot us for sure." He thought quickly. "We need a distraction." Just then, they heard the high-pitched whine of the alien ships. Tom pulled off onto a side street that ran behind the local farmers' market. Sunday morning meant the market was busy, with dozens of pickup trucks similar to his parked in the area. "What are you thinking?" Anna asked, noticing his expression. Small-town life lesson number 1. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody helps out. Tom pulled up next to Bill, the market manager who had known him since he was a kid. "Stay low," he whispered to Anna. "Tom Baker," Bill called out. "Haven't seen you since summer." "Hey, Bill," Tom replied, trying to sound casual. "Listen, I need a favor. My friend here isn't feeling well, and I need to get her to the University Medical Center. But my truck's acting up. Could you ask some folks to drive their trucks out in different directions? I'll pay for their gas and time." Bill looked at Anna's huddled form and then back at Tom. Something in Tom's expression must have conveyed the urgency, because Bill just nodded. "No payment needed, son. We take care of our own here." Within 5 minutes, 6 trucks identical to Tom's in size and color pulled out of the market in different directions. As they drove away, Tom heard the alien ship's engines change pitch. They were splitting up to follow the different vehicles. "That's brilliant," Anna said as they took yet another back road. "Simple but effective. Small towns are good for something," Tom grinned. His expression turned serious as they finally approached the university's back entrance. Now comes the hard part. The physics building was a small 3-story structure near the edge of campus. Tom parked behind it, next to the emergency exit he knew was always unlocked because of his professor's smoking habit. "Quick," he said, helping Anna out of the truck. "My lab's on the 2nd floor." They had just reached the emergency exit when a shadow passed overhead. One of the pursuit ships had reunited and was circling the campus. "They're scanning for my beacon," Anna whispered. Tom looked around desperately. Then he saw the old transformer box on the building's wall. "Wait here," he said. He ran to the box and yanked it open, remembering his work-study job helping the maintenance staff. "The electromagnetic field from the building's power supply," he explained as he pulled out his physics notebook and made quick calculations. "If I can adjust it just right." He began twisting dials and reconnecting wires. The lights in the building flickered, and Anna's crystal device suddenly sparked. "The beacon signal," she said excitedly. "It's bouncing everywhere. They won't be able to pinpoint it." "It won't last long," Tom warned, ushering her inside. "Maybe 10 minutes before the system resets. Let's get to the lab and find something more permanent." As they raced up the stairs, the sound of the alien ship grew fainter. Tom's quick thinking had bought them time, but he knew they weren't safe yet. Everything would depend on what they could accomplish in the physics lab, if they could get there in time. The university physics lab looked exactly as Tom had left it on Friday, cluttered with equipment, half-finished experiments, and a lingering smell of burned coffee. He quickly locked the door behind them and began pulling equipment from the shelves. "We have maybe 5 minutes before the transformer reset brings your beacon signal back," he said, setting up an old oscilloscope. "What's the exact frequency we need to match?" Anna's fingers danced over her crystal device. "The Royal Beacon broadcasts at 4.3 quantum hertz. In your measurements, that would be..." She made quick calculations in the air with glowing fingertips. about 7.8 terahertz. Tom's hands froze over the equipment. That's way beyond what this lab gear can produce. A loud thump from the roof made them both jump. The alien ships had landed on the building. "They're here," Anna whispered, her markings pulsing rapidly with fear. Tom looked around the lab desperately. His eyes landed on his professor's pride and joy, an experimental quantum field generator. It wasn't supposed to be used by students, but this seemed like a good reason to break that rule. "Help me with this," he said, wheeling the machine to the center of the room, "and grab those laser arrays from the shelf." As they worked, heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. The clicking language of the assassins grew closer. "What are you making?" Anna asked as Tom connected the laser arrays to the quantum field generator. "Remember how we split light into different frequencies in basic physics?" Tom's hands moved quickly, connecting wires. "If we combine the quantum field generator with these laser arrays, we might be able to create a cascading frequency effect. Like a quantum mirror." Anna's eyes widened. That's actually brilliant. It would reflect my beacon signal in thousands of directions." The door handle rattled. Something mechanical whirred. They were trying to override the lock. Tom powered up the machine. Blue light filled the room as the laser arrays came to life. "Cross your fingers," he muttered, "or whatever you cross for luck where you're from." The quantum field generator hummed to life just as the door burst open. 3 tall figures in dark armor stepped in, their weapons raised. Their helmets had no visible eyes, just smooth, reflective surfaces. "Stand aside, human," one of them clicked in accented English. "The princess dies today." "Actually," Tom said, pushing the final button, "I don't think she will." The laser arrays fired, creating a complex web of light that bounced off every reflective surface in the lab. The quantum field generator pulsed, and suddenly Anna's beacon signal seemed to come from everywhere at once. The assassins' helmets went crazy, their tracking systems overwhelmed by the 1,000 duplicate signals. They staggered, disoriented. That's when the window exploded inward. Royal guards in gleaming white armor swung into the room, their own weapons already firing. The assassins tried to fight back, but they couldn't tell where anyone was in the chaos of reflected signals. Tom grabbed Anna and pulled her behind his professor's heavy metal desk. "Your guards have good timing." "They'd been tracking me too," Anna explained, ducking as energy bolts flew overhead. "But they needed time to catch up after my ship was destroyed." The fight was intense but brief. The assassins, unable to use their tracking systems and confused by the quantum reflections, were quickly overwhelmed by the better-prepared royal guards. As the last assassin fell, Tom peeked over the desk. The royal guards immediately pointed their weapons at him. "Stand down," Anna commanded, rising to her full height. Her royal bearing was obvious now, even in borrowed hiking clothes. "This human has twice saved my life through ingenuity and courage. He is under my protection." The guards lowered their weapons and knelt. Their commander stepped forward, removing his helmet to reveal features similar to Anna's. "Your Highness," he said, "the area is secure, but what is this device? Our sensors have never been confused like this before." Anna smiled, looking at Tom with pride. "That, Commander, is why we've been watching Earth. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most elegant." She turned to Tom. "And now, I believe I owe you quite a reward." Tom looked at the chaos of the lab. Broken windows, scorch marks on the walls, his professor's equipment scattered everywhere. "Actually," he said with a weak smile, "helping me explain this mess to my professor would be a good start." Tom sat in an empty classroom, trying to process everything that had happened in the last 24 hours. The royal guards had quickly cleaned up the physics lab, repairing the damage and replacing the broken equipment with versions that looked identical but somehow seemed more advanced. His professor would never know the difference. The door opened and Anna walked in. She had changed into her proper royal attire, a flowing garment that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. Her natural glow was stronger now, and a small circlet of shimmering metal rested on her head. "Your face suggests you have questions," she said, sitting next to him. "About 1,000,000, Tom admitted. "But let's start with why Earth. Why were you watching us?" Anna's markings pulsed thoughtfully. "Walk with me," she said, standing. As they walked through the empty Sunday morning halls, she began to explain. "The stellar concordat has existed for 10,000 of your Earth years," she said. "We've seen civilizations rise and fall. Some destroy themselves. Others destroy their neighbors. We learned to be careful about which worlds we invite to join us." They reached the university's main entrance. Through the windows, Tom could see several sleek ships now parked on the campus lawn, hidden from the town by some kind of shimmering field. "So you test planets before inviting them?" Tom asked. "Yes, but not in the way you might think." Anna touched a wall panel, and a holographic display appeared, showing Earth from space. "We don't care about technological advancement. The Steel Path faction believes that's what matters. Weapons, ships, power. They're wrong. What do you care about then?" "Character," Anna said simply. "Kindness, creativity, the ability to help others without seeking reward. The wisdom to use knowledge for protection rather than destruction." She looked at him meaningfully. "When you found me, you didn't know I was a princess. You didn't know Earth was being watched. You just knew someone needed help." Tom felt his face grow warm. Anyone would have done the same. "No," Anna said firmly. "They wouldn't. And that's not all. When the assassins came, you didn't fight with weapons. You used your knowledge creatively. You turned basic physics into a shield. You involved your community to help us escape. Every solution you found was about protecting life, not taking it." The hologram changed, showing scenes from the past day. Their escape through the caves, the trucks from the farmers' market creating confusion, the quantum mirror that had protected them in the lab. "I don't understand," Tom said. "Are you saying my actions somehow affected Earth's future?" Anna smiled. "The Steel Path faction has been arguing that Earth is too primitive to join the Concordat. They wanted to delay contact for another century. They arranged the attack on me knowing I would have to land here. They thought Earth's response would prove their point. Instead, a human student showed exactly the qualities we hoped to find. Kindness, intelligence, resourcefulness, community." Her markings glowed brightly. "The Concordat's council has been watching everything through my beacon. They've seen how you handled every challenge. They've made their decision." Tom's mouth felt dry. "What decision?" Anna waved her hand, and the hologram showed the Milky Way galaxy. Thousands of points of light marked what Tom assumed were member worlds of the Concordat. "Earth will be invited to join us," she said. "Not in 100 years. Not in 50. Now." She turned to face him directly. "And we want you to help us make it happen." "Me? But I'm just a physics student. You're someone who proved that humanity is ready for a bigger role in the galaxy." Anna's face grew serious. "The transition won't be easy. Earth will need people who understand both human and Concordat perspectives. People who can solve problems creatively. People who have already proven they can handle the existence of alien life." Tom looked out at the ships on the lawn, then back at the galaxy map. His whole life had been about understanding how the universe worked. Now he was being offered a chance to explore it. "When do we start?" he asked. Anna's smile lit up the room. "Literally. We already have. The real question is, are you ready for what comes next?" 3 months had passed since that fateful night in the mountains. Tom stood before a mirror in what could only be described as the most advanced dressing room in the galaxy, adjusting the collar of his new diplomatic uniform. The material, like Anna's royal garments, seemed to be made of woven starlight. "Still not used to it?" a familiar musical voice asked. Tom turned to see Anna standing in the doorway, her crown now a full royal diadem that matched her natural glow. In the past months, she had become not just his guide to galactic society, but a close friend. "Not sure I'll ever get used to any of this," he admitted, gesturing at their surroundings, a room aboard the Concordat's massive flagship, currently orbiting Earth. "You've done remarkably well," Anna said. "The Council is very impressed with how you've handled everything." Tom thought back over the whirlwind of the past 3 months. After that day at the university, things had moved incredibly fast. The Concordat had made official first contact through the United Nations, using their advanced technology to prove their existence to every nation simultaneously. To everyone's surprise, the Concordat hadn't offered Earth advanced weapons, faster-than-light drives, or other high-tech devices. Instead, they had offered knowledge, clean energy technology to stop climate change, medical advances to cure diseases, and educational programs to help humans understand their place in the galaxy. "Is Earth ready for the next step?" Tom asked, knowing what day it was. "Thanks to you, yes." Anna's markings pulsed with pride. "Your idea to start with environmental technology instead of space travel was perfect. Humans proved they could handle advanced technology responsibly." Tom smiled, remembering how he'd suggested that Earth needed to learn to take care of its own planet before reaching for the stars. The Concordat Council had loved that perspective. A soft chime filled the room. It was time. Together, they walked through the ship's crystalline corridors to the Grand Assembly Hall. Representatives from all 1,000 worlds of the Concordat were present, their various forms and colors creating a living rainbow. At the front of the hall stood the Earth delegation. Political leaders, scientists, and educators from every nation. As Earth's first ambassador to the Concordat, it was Tom's job to present humanity's case for membership. He stepped up to the speaking platform, which adjusted itself to his height. The universal translators hummed to life. "Honored members of the Concordat," he began, his voice calm despite his racing heart. "Earth comes before you not as conquerors or warriors, but as students eager to learn. In just 3 months, we've shown what we can do with just a small portion of your knowledge." The great screens behind him displayed images of Earth's transformation. Cities now powered by clean fusion energy, forests regrown using advanced biotechnology, oceans being cleaned by swarms of tiny recycling drones. "But we've also shown what we can offer in return," Tom continued. "Human creativity, our ability to find simple solutions to complex problems, our capacity for kindness and community. These are gifts we bring to the galaxy." He gestured to Anna, who stepped forward. Princess Anna didn't choose Earth for her emergency landing by accident. She trusted that someone would help her, not because she was a princess, but simply because she needed help. She was right. The assembly hall fell silent as the council leaders rose. The chief counselor, a beam of pure light, spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Earth has proven itself not through strength of arms or technological might, but through strength of character. Ambassador Baker represents the best of human qualities: kindness, ingenuity, and wisdom beyond his years. We welcome Earth as the 1,001st member world of the stellar Concordat." The hall erupted in celebration. As Tom watched Earth's representatives step forward to receive their world's membership crystal, he felt Anna's hand on his shoulder. "So," she said with a smile, "was this reward unbelievable enough for helping a stranger in need?" Tom looked around at the assembled beings from 1,000 worlds, then back at the image of his transformed home planet. "Actually," he replied, "I think the real reward was finding out what humanity could become when given the chance." The light of 1,000 worlds shone down on them as Earth took its first step into a larger universe.